Hello and welcome. My name is Peter. I'm the sole developer behind Growlery Games, and in this video, I'm going to discuss the difficult decision to cut one of my planned characters in order to improve my current game, Risk and Riches, as a whole. And at the end, I'm going to discuss some of the status updates for the game as well. So stick around. Originally, I planned on having 5 characters at launch for Risk and Riches, but after careful consideration, I decided to cut the character known as the Baron. The Baron was the last character that the player would unlock, and it was based on the robber barons from the Gilded Age, which is the time period that Risk and Riches takes place. Each character has their own strengths and weaknesses, and all of them have 2 main ways of playing, or at least intended. But they're built in such a way that it's possible to mix and match, so that you're not locked into one play style. If you can adapt as the run goes on if you're not getting, the cards to totally unlock the potential. And the Baron's kit revolves around summoning henchmen, which was unique from the other characters. All the characters kind of build off of either add something or build off of a previous mechanic that was shown. And in future videos, as we get closer to launch, I'll probably talk about each one, just as a lead up to release. But yeah, the Baron was about henchmen. And so you could summon henchmen that would attack and defend for you, or you could go without and use more powerful cards, but now be, more exposed. As well as use cards that, maybe did a bit more damage, but also hurt your own henchmen. And it was a unique mechanic from the other characters, but it was the least fleshed out. Now looking back after making the decision to get rid of the Baron, I can definitely say he was the weakest character by far. He didn't fit like the setting and story. All the other characters are people that kind of work and live in the community, and the robber baron doesn't quite fit for that. And his cards were the least fleshed out. Honestly, the reason I added them was because originally I came up with the first 4 characters, then remembered that Slay the Spire, which is one of the bigger recent card games, deck builders, has 4 characters in there. After all their expansions, they had 2, and then they have 4 now. And so I wanted to step away from Slay the Spire as much as I could. And so I added a 5th character, and that's not a great reason to add another character, and it showed in his design, that how weak it was. And so now he's gone, and it overscoped the game slightly, and that's the main reason why I got rid of him. As more people have been playing the game, and I've been able to watch some of them play, I'm realizing little things here and there for polish. I know that some of the textures need to be, touched up. I'd love to go back and make the animations a bit better. It's not my art's not my strongest suit, but I'd like to do what I can to improve that as much as I can ahead of release. But also little things like in the UI. Recently I added these little black backgrounds, and it's just a transparent black background. But when you purchase the cards in the shop, now you have that there to kind of indicate that there's an empty slot, and it says sold on it or something like that, as opposed to just now part of the menu is empty. And it's a little thing, but all those little things help with immersion and just making the game elevated a bit more, and they don't take a lot of time on their own, but when you add them all up, it's quite a bit of time. And so the week or 2 that it would take me to implement the Baron and all of his cards, and test it and make sure it works, I felt was just better put into polishing and balancing and play testing the rest of the game. Which at this point, the core game's done. I'm working on the tutorial right now, which is taking a little bit more time than I thought it would, but I'll finish it by the end of this week. I'm recording this on Christmas Eve, December 24th. So happy holidays to those who celebrate Christmas. Hanukkah, I think, starts on the 26th. But whatever you might celebrate or don't celebrate, Happy New Year. But yeah, the tutorial's taking a little bit more time. But that's just kind of an add-on because some people have mentioned wanting a tutorial. Most people have figured out the game in 5 or 10 minutes, but we'll add it for those who want it. I'm trying to take a little bit of a humorous approach at it, but I guess it depends on whether you think my humor's funny or not. I'm not trying to be funny now, so you can't judge it at the moment. But yeah, so that's why I got rid of them, and I think it's the right decision. It was hard to make that decision though, and the reason was, part of me felt like I was failing for not delivering on everything that I originally set out to do, and also like I was breaking a promise to folks. Not that anybody was necessarily excited about the Baron, or even realized he was coming. It was in some of the menus you could see what the other characters were, so it was out there that a Baron character existed, or would exist, and so I just felt like I was failing. I felt like I was letting people down potentially, like I was pulling the rug out from folks, and I don't want to get that reputation at all, but I was getting rid of this one character who probably wouldn't have been the most enjoyable without a lot more work to his design, now reflecting on it, to improve the game as a whole, I think is the best decision from a design, from a development point of view, and also for the players, to get a better experience. Like, we're just sacrificing this one character that most people might not even play or like barely get to. Like I said, he's the last character you unlock, so by the time you get to him, you're getting close to the end of the game, most likely. And it's a roguelike game, so there's some replayability, but he's the last character. And so, thinking about it, it might not seem like a big deal, but it really was for me going through this process. If you're making your own games, I'm sure you might have dealt with something similar to this. But I'm happy I made the choice, and I'm proud of myself for recognizing that I overscoped slightly and being able to make the necessary adjustments to improve the game overall. Overscoping and scope creep are always going to be a potential problem, something to keep an eye on, and I'm sure I'll do it again. But after going through this process with deciding to cut a character that I had planned from the beginning, this wasn't scope creep. I had, even though he was kind of tacked on, it was during the design phase, during my pre-production. So this is just overscoping in general, and I got this far planning for him to be there this whole time, but I was able to kind of step back objectively and make decision to cut him for the improvement of the whole game. And so that's the thing that I'm proud of and I feel good about, because going forward, when these situations happen again, I feel confident that I should be able to recognize them, and I won't get so attached to what's in my head that I can't make the necessary adjustments. Kind of a forest for the trees sort of a deal. But that's my decision to kill the Baron. and the thought process behind that. So if you're making your own games and going through something similar, take a step back. It's if it means improving, if it's not just cutting to meet a deadline, it's cutting to improve the game as a whole, and give a better experience to the player, then I don't think there's anything to feel guilty about. So with the Baron cut, where does that leave the rest of the game? This past week, so this is December 24th, 24. This past week, I finished all the last of the other 4 characters, everything implemented, as well as anything that I would consider the core game. That's all done as of last week. Some testing still necessary, but everything's implemented on that end. So game's there. I've begun this week, or really mid last week, adding a couple of the bigger pieces of what I'm considering polish. A little intro cutscene, which is done, and right now I'm working on tutorial. I realized I need to add an ending little cutscene too, but that won't take too long. That stuff should all be done by January 4th. I'm going on a 3-day vacation, so I probably won't get much done this weekend. But when I come back, all that should be wrapped up before January 4th, which means after January 4th, nothing should really be going on except for playtesting, bug fixes, which, knock on wood, there aren't any known major bugs at the moment. There's a couple things I'd like to tweak, but they're not game breaking. I mean, they're definitely not game breaking bugs in any way. There was one that slipped through a couple of months ago, and it has been fixed since, or a month ago, and it has been fixed. But nothing else is known at the moment. But I need to test all of these new features and the last 2 characters pretty thoroughly. So playtesting, bug fixes, polish stuff such as improving some of the textures, animations, the audio. Some of the audio clips I need to make a bit more consistent volume-wise. I know is one thing that I got to do, and then balancing. Tweaking some of, maybe this card's a little too powerful, that enemy's a little too weak, that sort of thing. And I'm gonna get through a lot of that as I'm doing my own play testing, and probably mid-January I'm gonna update the playtest, which, if you're interested in being part of the playtest, I've had a private one going on for a long time. Right now it has the next version of the demo in it, which will, before I get this too jumbled up. I've had a playtest going on for quite some time. It started with what became the demo. Now it's basically the demo 2.0 is the playtest. And when I update it in mid-January, the whole game will be in there. So it'll be the full game for the playtest. If you're interested in taking part in that, you go to growlergames.com and sign up for the mailing list, and or just fill out the contact form and let me know. It's not the most efficient way to do it right now. I gotta fix that. But if you're interested, you do need to sign up for the mailing list, and just let me know that you want to be part of the playtest, and so I will send you a key. That will remain private, and it will stay up until just about before the game launches. The demo is also going to be updated mid-January, and so it will include what is currently in the playtest, and that is adding the second character and unlocking a couple more buildings, and the second character is the Gunslinger. So right now the Prospector's been in the game. Gunslinger will be in the demo as well. So I'm giving quite a bit of content in the demo, and we'll see how this goes. Like I said, some people have sunk hours into the demo. There are people who pop in. I can see the stats, and my median playtime has jumped around between 23 and 28 minutes. It jumps around a little bit, but 28's been the ceiling so far. 23 has been the floor, which is good. Not great. Could be a little higher. I was really hoping to hit the half hour, but there are some people who have played for 10 minutes or less, and so they're bringing that down. But there are others who have played for over 3 hours. Anyways, and the average playtime is pretty consistently been over an hour, but the average is getting pulled by the extremes, so that's why the median's a little more important. Anyways, yeah, so mid-January, I'm starting to ramble here, I'm sorry, but yeah, mid-January, demo gets updated, playtest gets updated with the full game, and it's just polish, bug fixes, balancing, graphics, audio tweaks, and getting ready for Steam Next Fest, which I'm taking part in the February Steam Next Fest, which I forget the exact dates, but it starts like late February, like the 18th, like February 18th ish, and goes until March 3rd, I think. So I'm taking part in that, and then plan to release shortly after that. The thing that's really causing issues right now is either I need to release pretty close to after that ends, or I gotta wait a little bit because I believe there's a sale sometime around then that usually happens for Steam as well. So I don't want to conflict with. I don't want to release during a sale, so I gotta figure that out to nail down the exact date. And like I said, I'm eyeing one, but it's not locked in totally yet. And so everything's getting close to the end. I'm feeling good. The game's definitely gonna be done. I'll have some time to polish it, but it does, it's I'm feeling the crunch a bit here, and I was really proud of myself on having a pretty smooth sailing experience so far. But if I had put in an extra hour here or there along all of development, things might be a little easier right now. So I gotta think about work-life balance stuff a bit more for the next game. I think I gave myself a little too much leniency coming up to now, and I say crunch. It's not, I'm not pulling 24-hour shifts here or 18-hour shifts here. I'm just just feeling a little anxious about it. I'm still, for the most part, doing a 9 to 5, but I do work half days Saturdays almost always, and Sundays I try and take off, but now for the last month or two I've been doing half days on Sundays as well, unless there's like a family thing planned or whatever that I can't work. Again, starting to ramble, sorry, but I don't regret going full time. Mid-January will be the year anniversary, and so we'll celebrate that since I started developing full time. It's been a blast. I am feeling the pressure right now. It's come and gone. Waves of anxiety throughout development, but feeling good at the moment. I'm looking forward to releasing Risk and Riches for sure. There'll be a moment of relief when that's done, until people start complaining, and then I'll feel the anxiety again. And not that they will complain. The game's going to be perfect. And I'm looking forward to starting the next game sometime shortly after that. And I've already begun gearing up for pre-production for Growler's second game. There's definitely going to be another game. when I set out to start this studio, I gave myself a minimum of 3 years to try and get things going. The goal is really 3 games. And so this one development is going to take just over a year, and it will be released after about 14 months of development. The next one, I want to give a little bit more time to bake. So maybe 18 months, and then we'll see what we're gonna do with Game 3. Game 3 kind of depends on how this one does and how the second game does. But I'm hoping again to probably do, I think 18-month development cycles is better for the scale of game that I'm looking to develop. At least while it's still just me as a solo developer. The hope is to grow and get some other folks, especially as soon as Growly has enough money. An artist is priority number 1. I can handle the programming, but definitely need an artist. That's not an opening for solicitations right now, unless you're watching this in the years to come. But that's what I've got for this one. Thank you for watching. Again, I'm Peter, the solo developer behind Growlery Games. I try and upload at least 1 or 2 videos a month documenting the development of my studio, as well as the current project at the time, which right now is Risk and Riches. You can get the demo on Steam and itch.io. If you'd like to join me on this journey, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.